Hey everyone, this is Adam Sweet from Soul Astrology, and today we have edition number 28 of the Anonymous Birth Charts. This is a series in which I do bite-sized readings based on charts and questions submitted by you all. Let me go ahead and share the chart that we're going to take a look at for today. And the question that came with this chart says, I've spent most of my life prioritizing stability and responsibility, but over the last year, I've felt pulled towards a major life change. Should I focus on advancing my current career path, or is this a time to take a risk and pursue work that feels more meaningful and aligned with my purpose? When I hear a question like that, the first thing that really pops out to me is that dichotomy or tension between Leo rising and Taurus in the 10th house. And that's because a Leo rising, the character arc of Leo is often that sense of exploring what it means to express authentic selfhood in the world, with that desire of expression really coming from the heart. Now we have the ruler of Leo, the sun, down here in the second house of our resources as well as finances. So we know that that sort of character development is going to run through the creation or expression of how we acquire money and finances and resources in the world. Now, in juxtaposition to that, we have Taurus here in the 10th house. Taurus is a solid earth sign. It is very stable. We have an exalted moon in the sign here in the 10th, as well as the north node. And so when we find this juxtaposition, remember these are in a square, and astrology is set up really beautiful like that because there's always these tensions that are built into everybody's chart. And it's kind of like, how do we learn to live with the tensions of the opposite? Well, for a Leo, explorations of authentic selfhood are always going to be bound up in how do I do that, but also provide for myself and my family in a very stable way. That presents a duality in life for most people, especially in this chart where, like I said, the sun is here in the second house, putting a lot of emphasis on those finances and resources. So this native said that they have been really experiencing that call towards change of career over the past year. Now, if we pull up the transits, these are the current transits right now. I am actually going to back these up by 1 year to show you what this may look like in the sky. So I backed this up by 1 year, and we have Uranus, that planet of reform and dramatic change, activating the North Node here in the 10th house. The North Node is really that point that calls us into the material world. And when Uranus is there activating it by conjunction, then we have this expression of the desire for freedom and reform of that material world. And in this case, the material world of career and our public reputation. Now, Uranus has just spent the last 7 years going through that 10th house. So I wouldn't be surprised if this native has been feeling that kind of building tension, especially as it's hitting the MC and then the moon, and then finally this culminating point here at the 29th Anaretic degree in the 10th house, where there's kind of this like, I need to make a change. Now, the cool thing is that if I move this forward a year, now we have Uranus ingressing into the 11th house. The 11th house is often associated with groups and friends, but it is that place of our hopes and our dreams. And so now Uranus, the planet of reform, is bringing in that desire for freedom and transformation of our hopes and dreams. And it is immediately activating Mercury here in the second house. That's a very well dignified Mercury in Virgo, where it is in its own domicile and exaltation. And that same Mercury rules that 11th house of our hopes and dreams. So the ruler, not only are we having that planetary ingress of a slow moving outer planet, which is a very powerful moment in any chart, but that planet is immediately activating the ruler of that house. And so Mercury represents money as well in the second house and activating or ruling that 11th house. And all of a sudden, we get this feeling of, I really want to pursue this new career, but I don't know if it can pay the bills, is basically what I hear kind of hidden in this question. Which is it's a real dynamic that a lot of people run into in life. How do we pursue our authentic selfhood out in the world, but still make money for ourselves? I think that there are some other transits here to point out that are really going to help bring a little bit of clarity to this. And that is the fact that we also have right now almost exactly Pluto squaring that natal moon there in the 10th house. Now, the moon is exalted and is that symbol that can represent things like our environment, also how we nurture and care for ourselves and others. And Pluto is always a sign of great change and transformation, but usually through like a pretty intense cathartic experience. And so when I see Pluto activating the moon there in that 10th house, to me, that is a symbol of change of environment coming related to career in this case. Also, the next transit that's going to happen here, I'll just point it out before I move it forward, is we have Saturn is activating natal Venus. And that's important because Venus is the planet that rules that 10th house of career. Now, anytime Saturn comes along, Saturn brings with it great gravitas and seriousness, and Saturn is the planet of thresholds. So it comes along, it activates a natal promise in our chart around career in this case, and it's really asking us, there's this threshold, do you want to step across it? So that is coming up very soon too. If I move this along a bit here, we want to see that 3-degree range. So right here in the beginning of July, even a little bit before that, if I back this up, end of June, early July, we have Saturn starting to activate that natal Venus there. And that is going to bring up a lot of, I guess you could just say questions or sort of like, excuse my language, but shit or get off the pot type of feelings in life. Which is, something we all go through. At that same point, Uranus is going to be activating almost exactly by degree and minute that natal Mercury there of our hopes and dreams. And so you'll be really presented with this moment in life of, do I want to make this change? I personally think that change is coming for you. And that's really because of this potent symbol of Pluto squaring that exalted moon there in the 10th house. That moon rules the 12th house there too. And the 12th house is often that world we struggle to see. And so to me, this kind of points to this like cathartic release point of realizing that there is something else that you want to do with your life that really is that expression of authentic selfhood. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing the screen there. I hope we did some really good work for this native today. If any of you out there are interested in a birth chart reading like the one you saw here today, you can send me your birth data and a question in an email to adam@soulastrology.com, and we'll go ahead and take a look at it. I appreciate you watching, everybody. Thanks. Bye.